Good morning, everybody. It is the Mike Missanelli Show. Good tidings to everybody out there with this happy fan base that we have here for the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm very anxious to speak to our happy patrons of our Philadelphia 76ers today. My name is Mike Missanelli. This is the Mike Missanelli Show. Bill Colarulo is with us. Today, Tom Alford is filling in for Ray Dunn on this very special day. As you can tell, I am trying to be lighthearted about the whole thing with the Philadelphia 76ers. I sit here and I watch the same thing that you watch, and I go, this team is in trouble in so many different ways it's not even funny. And I know the big salvation is that when the big three get together, there'll be enough time to get it together and make a run. And I give you the following statistics, which are to reach 46 victories, which is what the Heat did last year, for 8th place play-in tournament. The Sixers must go 44-25 the rest of the way to reach 36 wins, the Drek position in the play-in tournament. That was what Atlanta did last year. The Hawks had 36 wins to leak in the 10th spot. The Sixers must go 34-35. Now, that seems very reasonable. One game under 500. That's also the 10th seed where they would have been in the play-in tournament. Either statistic that I just gave you is the play-in tournament. And I sit there and I go, See, all this stuff that I talked about prior to the season that everybody came at me for and shirked. Oh, Mike, you're just overreacting. It's a good thing that they're saving him and putting him in bubble wrap because the playoffs are the only thing that counts. Look at this team and the way they play. Look at the disarray they play with. The coach doesn't even know what to do with this team. He's got no methodology to make these guys that he has playing, and last night 2 of the big 3 were playing. He has no plan to make this team play together. They finished last night's game ranked last in field goal percentage and offensive rating. The Heat, who aren't even a good team, scored 23 fast break points and 14 off Sixers turnovers. They do have a head coach, don't they? They did have a training camp. He did see what kind of players he had. This is just absolutely flat out bad, flat out embarrassing. And if you want to believe that somehow something magic is going to happen that lifts this team to be an upper echelon team in this conference, then you knock yourself out. And I'll sit here and I'll listen to you today because I'm kind of in a mellow mood. You wouldn't know that by how I started this show, but I'm in a mellow mood because I see what this team is. And I don't buy the nonsense that suddenly they're going to get it together and be a viable team. Because I want to add this to see if you agree with this. 2 of the big 3 players who were in the game last night don't look like they're nearly the same kind of player that we expected them to be. Now, if I'm lying, I'm dying. So let me turn it over to one Bill Colarulo.
Mike, I'd love to be the voice of positivity here, but there's nothing to be positive about. I'm not even angry. I'm just so defeated when it comes to this Sixers team and watching the slop that they're putting out on the court. I mean, everybody knows the record, 2-11, worst in the NBA. But last night may have been the straw that broke the camel's back for me with this team. When you're up 19 in the second quarter and you blow that lead, and in the final 33 minutes of the game, you get outscored 79-43, when only Paul George is the only starter that gets a free throw attempt in that game. There wasn't another starter in the game that gets to the foul line. Joel Embiid doesn't get to the foul line once. That's the first time that's happened since February of 2018. And then you've talked a lot, Mike, about these aging veterans that they have coming off the bench, the Kyle Lowrys, the Eric Gordons. And now, for some reason, they're throwing Jeff Doughton out there. They combined for 3 of 14 from the field. And here's what frustrated me the most last night. We keep talking about, oh, well, Joel Embiid, he's ramping up. And I know he was sick last night. He's ramping up. Then how the hell does Jimmy Butler miss 10 days? Hadn't played a game since November 8th. Wasn't supposed to come back from that ankle injury for a while. And all he does last night is drop 30 points and 10 rebounds. There is a serious problem with this basketball team. And, Mike, I defended it. I defended it to you, saying that I was okay with the load management. I was okay with them saying the regular season didn't matter. But you were 100% correct. It set a horrible tone that the players didn't need to care about the regular season, and now you're seeing the product on the court reflect the tone that was set from upper management down to Joel Embiid and trickled throughout the roster. It's a frustrating thing to watch.
Grasshopper, you say some wisdom. So the Sixers, all this time, were permissive to the ramp-up. And guess what? The player is permissive to this notion of the ramp-up, so permissive that he doesn't feel he even has to play hard at this point. Because what he said after yesterday's game was, the next couple games, I'm probably going to be try hard to be more aggressive as far as doing more. Oh, all of a sudden that dawned on you that you have to do more? Because I'm seeing a guy who bought into what the Sixers actually carved out for you, which is that you just have to ramp up. This part of the season is not important. We just need to save you for the end of the season. And so when you create an atmosphere like that, what do you think the player is going to feel? You think the player is going to go out and say, I'm going to try to be more aggressive when the team needs him to be more aggressive? When the team needs him to dominate with a bunch of dreck that he's trying to play with, he's permissive to what? Not playing?
I don't know, Mike. It's a sad day for me. Like I said, I'm not angry. I'm extremely depressed about this Sixers team because I was excited this offseason, as most Sixers fans were. There were some who didn't like going after a 34-year-old Paul George, but I thought, hey, he got the best player available. It's exactly what this team needed. They've been looking for that wing that can create on the offensive side of the court. They have I was getting on Nick Nurse, and maybe Nick Nurse does need to be held accountable here, but at what point do we look at these players and just say, they're washed? Is Joel Embiid, I know he's still ramping up, the quote-unquote ramp-up. Is he ever going to get it back? I mean, this guy looks like he can't even jump right now. I'm really worried about the knee, and I was angry at Joel for being out of shape. But is there more going on with the knee? I keep coming back to that because it looks like he's just dragging that left leg around the court. And then you got Paul George and people who are holding out hope, saying, hey, well, once the big three gets together. I love Tyrese Maxey, and I do think he's a better player than Jared McCain. But what you're getting from Jared McCain right now, is Maxey going to give you that much more than what McCain's giving you, that suddenly the season gets saved when he comes back?
Oh, of course he's going to give you more than Jared McCain's.
But that much more is what I'm saying.
Well, of course he is. He's a 30-point-a-game scorer.
To correct the issues?
Well, no, to correct the issue. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen as far as that goes. That's the least of my concerns. My biggest concern now are the two other guys. Embiid, the message that he has gotten is that right now it's not important for him to bust. It's just not. It's not important. They have created that climate for him. They created a climate where he didn't even have to be in shape at the start of training camp. But the other guy doesn't look like, he's 34 years old, Paul George. Does he look like the dominant player that he once was on an every night basis?
He came out strong yesterday.
He was 5 for 13. He was a minus 17. He was 1 for 7 from 3-point. They're using Jeff Doughton as their 8th player. Jeff Doughton was their 8th player last night. Kelly Oubre now has the red ass that he doesn't start. Does he look like he's inspired to play?
No.
He's become a nothing player for them.
Yeah. I don't know what to tell you, Mike. I want to be positive
seriously.
today. I
And
can't.
then he fiddles around, and Yabusele is not even in the rotation.
Yeah, he didn't get minutes until the end of the third, I think.
I don't know what to say. I really don't.
I don't know what to say.
610-632-0975. This is how you get in. We're going to play some sound from last night's game because they had a team meeting for an hour, and Nick Nurse says they were receptive. Oh, that's nice. I'm glad they were receptive. Mike Missanelli Show is back after this.